I just came back from seeing Longlegs starring Nicolas Cage. And if you haven't seen it already, you're probably wondering, does it live up to the hype? And the answer is sorta. I'm not gonna lie, Longlegs only came onto my radar less than a month ago. Purely by random chance, I promise. A video popped up on my YouTube feed. That video was about satanic ritual murders. And it wasn't until like halfway of me watching that video, I realized they weren't actually talking about anything that happened in real life. They were talking about a movie. But I was fascinated and I dug deep to see if this movie was maybe based on true events. And fortunately, it was not. The marketing for this film was just on another level. They put up a website with a lot of evidence and information about this serial killer called Longlegs, and it went deep and had a lot of lore to it, and it got me even more into this movie. So I started looking at trailers and teasers, and oh my god, after watching them, I was hyped. I mean, take a look at this. Well, it's Wednesday, the 17th of July now here in Australia, and advanced screenings for Longlegs just started tonight. And of course, I went to see it. And here's my little review with the good, the bad, and the insane. We will start off with the good. Longlegs proves that Nicolas Cage is the GOAT. He is unrecognizable in this movie. Longlegs is the most bizarre and creepiest serial killer I've ever seen in any movie. He's not going to be easy to forget, and trust me, some of you will want to forget him pretty quickly. But that's a good thing, right? In the scenes where Nicolas Cage really gets into the character of Longlegs, all the women in the cinema got so uncomfortable with it that they all kind of nervously giggled. At first I thought they were just laughing at Nicolas Cage, but I ended up speaking to one girl after the movie, and she said that she laughed nervously because she has like vague memories of somebody like that from her childhood. Nicolas Cage should get an Oscar alone for making all the women in the cinema feel very uncomfortable. I know the guy's a bit of a meme because he's been in a lot of questionable movies lately, like a lot of B grade, even C grade crap. I'm sure you can go on Amazon and find like 15 no-name movies that he's been in. But all that tells me about Nicolas Cage is this man is passionate about acting. It's not about money to him, it's for the love of the craft. And Nicolas Cage doesn't have to prove himself as a great actor because he's already done that. Two movies you have to check out, both starring him. Adaptation, directed by Spike Jonze.
To begin, how to start. I'm hungry. I should get coffee. Coffee would help me think. But I should write something first, then reward myself with coffee. Coffee and a muffin. Okay, so I need to establish the themes. Maybe banana nut. That's a good muffin.
And The Weatherman, directed by Gore Verbinski.
How did I fuck this up? Seriously. What if I remembered the tartar sauce? Would things be different? Would Robert die not thinking I'm a jerk off? Jerk fuck.
Don't forget the tartar sauce.
Call the order in, Irene, and quit busting my you-know-what, okay?
You always have listened to what I'm saying to you.
I heard you! Tartar sauce!
Tartar sauce, tartar sauce, tartar sauce. Tartar sauce, tartar sauce, tartar sauce, tartar sauce. Man, I'd like to put my face in there. Right in there. Tartar sauce. My hips are cold. Tartar sauce. That's when you know it's cold. I like eating pussy. Tartar sauce. A lot of guys don't. Well, maybe they do. Maybe that's just black guys. Tartar sauce. What happened to the guy who was trying to go around the world in a balloon? Did he make it? I should put some espionage or stolen plutonium in my novel. Tartar sauce. Spice it up. Neil Young. Fuck, it's cold. Neil Young. Why am I thinking about Neil Young? Neil Diamond. Neil. There's not a lot of famous Neils. Is this Wednesday? I wish I had two dicks. I thought the whole family was going to learn Spanish together this year. That never really happened. I haven't had a Spanish omelet in a long time. There we go.
Anything else?
No?
Where is the tartar sauce?
They were out.
Then there's of course national treasure for the guilty pleasure, Micah Monroe, who has fairly been dubbed the Scream Queen of this generation for her iconic work in the horror classic It Follows, and for her general passion for the horror film industry. Also gives a great performance as the film's lead Lee Harker, who is supposed to be a socially awkward and borderline autistic FBI agent, I think, which is a far cry from the sort of person she actually is, so it is an immaculate performance. But at the same time, I felt kind of weird that this character was an FBI agent. She didn't really need to be an FBI agent in the film. If you love the trailer to this movie, then the sound, cinematography, and editing will not disappoint you. It's on point and carries that same tone that classics like Seven and Silence of the Lamb have. As a horror film, Longlegs is good. It's not the greatest horror film ever made, but I don't think it quite lives up to movies like Seven or Silence of the Lambs. But it does come close. And let me explain that by moving on to the bad. Let's start with the story. This film is both written and directed by Oz Perkin, and I think he absolutely nailed the direction part, so much that I believe that he's going to become one of the greatest horror directors of our time. I was shocked to find out that Longlegs was only his second film. And by the look of his first horror movie, I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House, it looks great, sounds great, but is let down by poor writing. Longlegs falls short with its writing as well. Actually, to be honest, I don't think there is much writing in this. The film doesn't have that much dialogue, and I'm willing to bet that Nicolas Cage improv'd most of his Longlegs scenes. I mean, the dude based Longlegs off his own mother, but sadly, in the movie, it just doesn't feel like there's enough there. Which sucks because they put a lot of effort into building the profile of Longlegs. They put up a website called The Birthday Murders dedicated to this guy's criminal past, with little hints and evidence and pictures and stuff that really got me excited for this movie. But ultimately, when I saw the movie, I was a bit disappointed, to be honest. There are also some other scenes in this movie that just make me ask, why? Like the scene from the trailer where you see Longlegs inside her cabin. And in the movie, it looks like she saw him inside the cabin. I mean, after going outside, then looking back inside, seeing him inside, she goes back with her pistol drawn, ready to shoot him. But instead of finding him, she finds a letter from Longlegs on her desk. And instead of being freaked out by this, she sits down casually, opens it, and reads the letter. Bitch, there was just a serial killer in your house. And then she opens the letter, and within like 30 minutes, she's cracked the code that many FBI agents have not been able to solve for many years. And this is how she cracks it. She opens up a little letter and sees a bunch of mumbo jumbo on there, but it looks like there's 3 6s. She circles them and then opens up the Bible and cross compares and then somehow cracks the code. And then she opens up some satanic book with an upside down triangle and 6s around it and figures out where the crimes are going to happen. Goes to the FBI party the next day like, this is the code and this is where the crimes are. And I don't know, it's a bit dumb. They had something great there and they could have done something like the Zodiac and explored more into like this satanic underbelly and all this, but they just dropped the ball. And then Lee, this rookie FBI agent, is supposed to be some sort of psychic, but not really, but definitely, but not really. I don't know. The first thing you see her do is just pick a random house going, the bad guy's in this house. Her partner goes, how do you know? She goes, I don't know, I just do. The partner refuses to call it in because they don't want to call in on their first day out of a hunch. So he goes and checks it out himself, and yep, it ends up being a house of one of the killers. The next thing you see is her doing some sort of psychological testing and guessing random numbers. It appears that it's supposed to be some kind of psychology test, but then they get her to guess some numbers that a random number generator was supposed to have generated. And later in the movie, her partner's like, whoa, I guess you really are a psychic. You got 10 of those numbers right. But then she goes, well, I also got 10 wrong. So her partner goes, okay, I guess you're not a psychic. I guess you're just intuitive. It made no sense. It was so stupid. They didn't even need to have her as a psychic or intuitive to begin with because it's never used again in the movie. And then there's the scene how they identify Longlegs and when they arrest him. It's so anticlimactic, that part. But when they have him in custody and are doing the interviews, especially when Lee is doing the interview, amazing cinema. Absolutely love it. And then they go and screw it up by just revealing everything at the same time, just dropping a bomb on you about, oh, this is what happened. And it's mostly done through like a flashback. And when you find out how these killings were done, you're going to cringe a little. I mean, it's definitely a good concept for a horror movie, a great concept. And that twist in the end could have been a massive payoff if they only spent more time developing the story, giving us more of Longlegs, a lot more of Longlegs, understanding his character, his motives, his craft, and maybe diving a bit deeper into that Satanism thing. The writing was off, therefore the story was off, the pacing was off, and it all just kind of fell apart in the end. It's a good horror movie, which could have been an absolute masterpiece of a horror movie if they just put more into it. They had everything there. It's like they had the perfect horror movie. They just forgot to put some salt in there. They forgot the seasoning. I still believe that Longlegs can become a cult classic though. They have to make this into a trilogy, that upside down triangle. The next movie needs to be a prequel, a deep dive into Longlegs. I just couldn't get enough of Nicolas Cage in this movie. He was phenomenal. The character of Longlegs has the potential to be ranked up there with the likes of Leatherface. The third film, and the one that will conclude the trilogy, should be about the occult and a deep dive into this dark ritual magic. If done right, Longlegs and the trilogy will become a cult classic. And now on to the insane. If you have not yet seen Longlegs, then this is the part where you should click off. Thanks for watching. Here come the spoilers. I've read a lot of reviews saying that this movie gets under your skin or will stay with you for a long while. But to be honest, the only thing that will really stick with me is Nicolas Cage's performance, even with how disturbing the theme and the killings were. But I guess some people were maybe wondering if there was a deeper meaning to Longlegs. I mean, I can kind of see it. And it's in that last scene of the movie, when you see Agent Carter get corrupted by that very thing that's supposed to bring his daughter joy. And you can see the hate stir up inside him. He no longer sees his wife and daughter as family or people that he loves, to the point where he's ready to cut them out of his life. And I'm not speaking metaphorically. There are a lot of things that we let into our home or are in our home that we trust, we watch, we listen to, and they corrupt us and make our hate our own family and friends. It's either in your hands right now or on a cabinet in your living room. Turn it on and all it tells you to do is hate, hate, hate. On and on until eventually you're so filled with hate that you're willing to hurt someone. I mean, I don't think that's what that movie was about. I'm not even sure if there was any deeper meaning to this movie, except for maybe that you shouldn't accept a creepy, real-sized, lifelike replica doll of your daughter as a gift from a stranger. Anyway, the movie was good. Go and see it.